Hello, divine beings, beautiful ones, how are you? Welcome or welcome back. I didn't intend to jump on this evening. I am in chill time, but unable to chill because there's something that's coming through quite persistently and it won't leave me. So I wanted to share straight away. So let's just... a little bit of interference as well, which is interesting. I've just kind of been moving around the house to find a good spot, so it's that energy again, which is, it's interesting, but there is nothing that can interfere with us, right? Calling the Holy Spirit, Divine Christ Sophia, Gaia Sophia, Pachamama, benevolent guides and ancestors, surround this space as love, grid and hold in all directions. So we set the intention for expansion and truth. And Spirit really wishes to push home a message right now around core values and the fact that your purpose comes from your core values. And there's really like a notification here to anchor what it is that you truly value. So we're going to unpick this a little bit because there's different parts to it. And unless we really identify, know and own what it is that truly matters to us, what it is that we truly value, then we cannot stand for those values in the world. So really getting in touch with, and I mean, why? The question's coming through, why do we even need to get in touch with that? Like, there's a part of us that thinks that it should be obvious what we truly value, right? And it is when we think about it. But the fact is, this world is a very controlled environment where a lot of the time we are prescribed or presented with a template or a model of how it is we should think, what our beliefs and opinions should be. And by that, I mean what allows us to belong, right? What's the majority? What do most people go along with? And when we're growing up, that's the space that we are encouraged to belong to. A lot of the way that the world is set up, capitalist society, gives us what it is about ourselves that is of value through very subliminal messaging. Because we've been disconnected from the earth, the body of the earth, and we can circle back round to this essentially as to how it's linked, but because we've been disconnected from the body and the earth, the body of the earth, everything that she is, everything she represents, everything she provides, and that innate divine connection, then we've lost a true sense of that obvious link of value. Okay. You know, humans, and this is why it's coming through as so important as well. This is coming through now. Humans are essentially stewards of this earth, but it hasn't really worked out that way, has it? We've not really at all fulfilled that role. A very small minority of people have taken power over the rest of humanity and the resources of the earth. The earth has been raped. It hasn't been cared for, looked after, appreciated with a sacred reciprocity that is needed. And that is the rebalancing of the feminine that's happening right now. So by design, we are stewards of the earth. And a steward of the earth is very anchored in what is right and wrong, very anchored in values such as respect, reverence, equality, justice, right? It's innate. Those qualities are innately embodied in a steward of the earth, because then they know what they stand for and they actively serve from that space. They're anchored in their values, right? And this is why Spirit is stepping forward and reminding, representing, and will continue to do so, this invitation for us to look at what it is within us that we truly value as an individual human, a unique human being. I think as humans in general, there are things that are common values to us all, right? Safety and freedom. But there will be ones within our unique vessel that particularly resonate and that we really are called to stand for. When we truly identify and bring them in, embody them, we're then in a position where that frequency can do its work in the world. It can come through our vessel. And how, and that's your purpose, how that looks, takes shape, or how it manifests is not our job to work out. It's what the mind wants to know. What is my purpose? What does my purpose look like? What am I supposed to be doing? But we're not human doings, we're human beings. And half of us are not fully anchored in who we are here to be. Therefore, we can't fulfill a purpose without stepping into the frequency of that, the avatar of that. This particular piece as well was really important on my journey. I was asked to look at this very deeply, and I do bring it forward in teachings as well, because it's a pivotal piece to who we are as unique individuals. When I truly owned the fact that I really deeply value dignity, respect, truth, and freedom. Dignity was always a really strong one for me. I was a really weird child. Like, I could sense when somebody wasn't being cared for in a dignified way. I could sense how vulnerable people are if they're not around people who have true values and really care. It's really weird. Even from a young age, and it took me years to work out that that's because dignity is in my template and I value it so highly that I was really picking up strongly on where it wasn't present. And this leads us round to difficult feelings as well, and anger, for example. Strong feelings and reactions in the body, or a consistent state of anger. Sometimes we can perceive that, or, well, I don't know, we could perceive it in a number of ways, or it could be confusing, overwhelming, misleading. We can end up thinking that we're just an angry person. But if you really sit with the actual true thing out of all of these situations that make you angry, sit with the common thread that is the trigger for the anger. I had to do that, and I realised a lot of the time that respect was missing, and it used to really bother me. I could lose my go from 0 to 10 in like 2 seconds flat over some type of issue or trigger where I perceived that respect was lacking, whether that was for somebody else, whether it was somebody being disrespectful towards me or whatever. It took me a long time to realise that respect was the thing. I was like, okay. And I really sat with that and I looked at it and I was like, okay, how do I own the fact that this is a really core value of mine? And I was guided to invite the frequency of respect. Everything is a vibrational frequency. It has a quality to it. It has a signature frequency. It's a consciousness. So if you can invite anything in that way into your field to feel it deeper in your cells, to become more familiar with it. And when I sat with what it feels like, what does respect feel like? Instead of me getting angry all the time about where it isn't present or where I think it's missing, like, what does it feel like when it's present? What does it mean to me truly? Why does that matter? What is present with it and what is missing without? And why does that matter? And I really owned that as part of my makeup. Then I was led to the question, well, how do you embody that for yourself? And I was like, At the time, there were a few ways that I was disrespecting myself, either through giving myself away in some way. I was still leaking my power out then, although I didn't realise it. But I was able to identify a few ways that actually I was disrespecting myself in quite small, subtle ways, but it doesn't matter. The devil's in the detail. So we are talking about the subtleties now. We're talking about the sneakiness of the mind and the small, subtle ways. So I realised I wasn't being fully embodied in that quality and that frequency towards myself first. And there's nothing outside of us. Everything has to come in first and then be given and then go out at our direction, not from an unconscious leak. Right? So I sealed those leaks. I stopped behaving in a way that was disrespectful to myself wherever I was conscious of it, and started to be consciously more respectful to myself in every single little way. And that changes your reality. It changes your mirror, your reflection. You change the inside and what's reflected back. I was no longer as angry. Things shift around and take a new place. You change the internal and your external reflection will change back at you. It's interesting. And I was also on a journey of embodying these core values that I've come here to stand for more fully. Truth was a massive one as well. I mean, my God. And I want to talk about this, not in with this, but this has been coming really strong again as well for a couple of days now. Truth, transparency, truth. When you embody truth, that's a big one, because you've got to bring it through you first. You telling me you're being true to yourself in every single little way? I don't believe you. It's a big one because we've all been brought up in a big fat web of lies. So we've got used to telling lies about ourselves. We've got used to not wanting to look at the truth, pretending, looking the other way. It's all a form of falsity, right? So truth is a massive one. There's a lot of talk about being a warrior for truth, and this is essentially the energy of the moment, the divine warrior, but not a lot of people actually work with the vibrational law of truth. And I know that because I do, and it's a very solitary path, and a lot of the time people don't want to hear it, or they don't want to look that deeply within themselves, and that's okay. But we're moving into a time where there will be no avoiding it, because it is the frequency that's required. Truth is God. And not only that, but we can't create a new world or anything new from any other space but the truth. Think about an argument or something going on in your family or anything at all. There is a skewed argument if we're not working with the truth. There's all sorts of chaos, and nothing can be truly fixed unless we get to the truth of the issue and people admit what that is, take accountability. From there, from just being good with what is, then we can move on, find solutions as a new space. And this is what's happening in the world right now. The purging is painful because people don't want to tell the truth and they don't want to hear the truth, but it's happening anyway. So truth is a really, really big one to embody for self. And it's a journey, because we'll be shown multiple little layers of ourselves where we've hidden something away, and we've again got to bring in that transparency through self. It takes a lot of courage. It takes getting over that feeling of deep, raw vulnerability. So truth is a huge one. Think about your vision for the new earth, your ideal. A world that feels good and is based on fairness and serves all, the many, not the few, right? A world based on what is right and fair. The energy of that, the reality of that, the bandwidth, the frequency is all of the divine qualities, all merged together. It's all the facets of love. And what we're talking about here, your core values, are those facets of the divine. Each one of them forms a thread of the divine tapestry. And this world, and the world that we are creating, or stepping into rather, is a world based on those values, those frequencies, those qualities, the divine qualities. But they're not just going to land out of the sky. They're coming through you. They're coming through each individual that does the work to embody the frequency and then radiate that out. And then it becomes available, more available in the collective consciousness. Then by demonstration, people are activated into their own embodiment. It's understandable why we all want to jump to our purpose. We just want to be there now, 1818. It's a time of completion, right? We just want to do it. We just want to be there. But we've got to be full to step into it. We've got to be embodied and not leaking our power out anymore to be that new human. So this part of the journey, the process, is so necessary for each and every one of us to prepare us. God is preparing us right now. And part of what is helpful is for us to really look at and anchor what it is that we truly value, what it is that we truly value, so that we are prepared to stand for that in this world. We don't need to know how, we don't need to know what's in the future in that way. We just need to do the work to be the human who demonstrates that quality true self for others in every conversation, every thought, truthful and respectful. And it's not that we have to be it's not about perfect. That almost sounds like impossible. But it doesn't mean that every single thought that comes through is organically truthful and respectful. It means that we're constantly bringing that frequency as the alchemizer through self. If anything is less than that, then we check it and we know that it isn't true and we reframe. And we take the actions, we think, speak and act in alignment with that as much as possible. And when we get something wrong, in the sense that we don't do it the best way possible, or we don't manage that, then we correct it. We make recompense, we acknowledge, and we're like, right, we'll do better next time. We don't judge ourselves, but we're constantly trying to be better. It's interesting as well, because when I really anchored in that way, energetically, the frequency of my core values, my voice started to naturally attune to those values. When you start to allow yourself, and again, don't worry about where's that opportunity going to be? How's that going to look? That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not your job to know that. Your job is to embody the frequency, and then you'll be a match for all the opportunities, and they'll just come in, or you'll have an idea to do something really different, or that allows you to bring something through. So look within yourself at what really riles you up. What really makes you angry? What's nagging there, asking you to look at what you perceive to be missing, and flip that around and call in the perceived lack of, because it's you that is required to bring that through you. When I looked within myself at where I needed to embody these frequencies, I saw where they lacked within me, and I brought them to and for myself. And I then truly understood the meaning of what it is to embody. Once I'd brought it in, it was then vibrating in my energetic field. It is then available for other people. So this is the how we be the change we want to see in the world. Thank you so much. I love you lots. Till next time.